Yes, Jigisha and Pancham. Do you have any questions related to this shloka?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So what is conversing?
Conversing means to talk about. So, for example, you and I right now are having a conversation. What are we conversing about? We are conversing about this shloka. So, conversing means to talk about.
Sir, enlightening means?
Enlightening. See, for example, you and I can sit and talk about, how dirty the street is, or how bad that other person is. Like that, we can talk about something. However,
Yes.
the topic you and I have chosen to talk about is Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhagavad Gita is a scripture of truth. So, when you and I discuss truth, that light of that wisdom shines in our mind. So, it helps us to then be happy, healthy, peaceful, and around us also to spread that happiness and health and peace. So, enlightening means where the way you are living within you and around you, you are able to spread happiness, health, and peace.
Yes, sir. Sir, then what is the meaning of bliss?
Bliss. Bliss means happiness which is not by any particular thing. See, most often we say in life, oh, I became happy because I ate a chocolate or I ate a ice cream. I became happy. So it is essentially, if there is no ice cream or if there is no chocolate, then I am deprived of happiness. I will be feeling, ayo, I don't have chocolate, I don't have ice cream. Whereas bliss, something that is within you, you are already a source of happiness. You don't need anything from outside to make you happy. You are inherently of the nature of happiness. So recall, your true nature is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means you are existing. You are the nature of truth. That is inherent. No one can give it to you. Then Chit means you are conscious. See, it is not your eyes which is seeing. Through the eyes, you are seeing. So you have that inherent nature. Then Ananda, because you are infinite, you don't really need anything. Your inherent nature is happiness. So bliss means it is something that is within you. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, then what is the meaning of derive?
Derive means to obtain. So, for example, see here, Prabhuji is talking about, say, Bhagavad Gita, or Upanishads, or Brahma Sutra, or Vedanta. He's not charging any money for that. He's not taking any money from anybody. But what makes him do this? Now, for more than 25 years, he's been doing this. What is that enables him to do this? Whenever he has spoken on these subjects, those who have heard him, they've come back to him and said, thank you very much. It has truly helped our lives. I used to feel very sad. Now I feel so peaceful. See, that sense of satisfaction is something that no one can give. So that is what is meant by deriving great satisfaction. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Anything
Sir,
else?
what is Upanishads? You said about Upanishads. What is
Upanishad. Okay. See, there are 4 Vedas. Veda means source of wisdom. Veda, the word Veda itself means knowledge. And there are 4 Vedas. Yajurveda, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvana Veda. This Vedas, they contain all kinds of knowledge. So in Vedas, you will find chemistry, physics, biology, architecture, mathematics, all kinds of knowledge. Also, Vedas contain knowledge about who am I truly? Who are you truly? And what is this world? What is your relationship between you and the world? So it addresses these fundamental questions also. So this part of the Veda, which addresses this knowledge of the self, that is, who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is the relationship between me and this world? This part of Vedas is called as Upanishad. Upanishad means something that was revealed to great rishis and which they taught lovingly to all the ones who wanted to realize their true nature. Upanishad means to sit near a realized being and to realize the essence of your nature. Are you clear?
Sir, yes, sir. I have one more doubt, sir.
Yes, good. Yeah.
Sir, dwell means what, sir?
Devoted. Is this what you're asking?
No, sir.
Huh?
Devote is dwell.
Oh, dwell. Okay. Dwell. Dwell means to reside. See, it is like, for example, let's say tomorrow morning there is an excursion in your school. Then all through the night in your mind, you're only constantly thinking about the excursion, isn't it? So the
Yes,
mind
sir.
is completely occupied by the excursion. Oh, I'll go there, I'll climb that, and I'll talk to my friends and all that. So the mind is dwelling in the excursion. Likewise, the mind of a realized being is dwelling in the divine only. So their mind is constantly feeling and is acting for the benefit of all others. Their mind is not dwelling in any other smaller activities of life. Whatever they do it with great devotion. So that is what their nature is. So dwell means to reside.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Let's go to Chirantan.
Sir, Pancham has the doubt.
Okay, all right. Let's ask Pancham's doubt first and then go to Chirantan.
Sir, I didn't understand what is satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Okay. Tell me, what is your most favorite food that Amma makes?
Sir, puri.
Puri. Wonderful. Let's say you're very hungry. Okay. And you are asking Amma, Amma, give me breakfast. Amma, give me breakfast. And Amma says, Pancham, look here, I made your favorite food. What? Puri. And now you eat puri. How do you feel? Ah, so nice, right? So that
Yes.
is one kind of a satisfaction. But now let us take another situation. Let's say somebody is very thirsty, very hungry, and let's say you have little bit of food with you, and you offer that food to that person, and they take that from you, and they say, "Thank you very much."
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they say, "Thank you very much."
Your voice is not breaking.
All right. Then they say, "Thank you very much." So when they say that thank you very much, see, they did not give you anything. Like in the first case where Amma gave you puri to eat, here they did not give you anything. But when they said thank you from their heart, you would feel touched. So the feeling that you get in such an occasion is satisfaction, completeness. Ah, very nice. All right, let's go to Chirantan.
Vijayji, what is meaning of Vijayji?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chirantan, please.
Vijayji, what is this sentence means? The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me.
What it means is, so people can use their mind for different thinking. Some people use their mind to only think about, let's say, eating. Some people use their mind only to think about, let's say, how I can earn more money. Some people use their mind only to, let's say, watch TV. Like that, the mind has been given to you and you can use it in the manner that you deem fit. But the best use of your mind is to realize the message of the great masters and to imbibe it in your life and to take it to others. Because the message of the great masters helps you to live life in total freedom. So here, pure devotee means someone who's realized the value of the message given by our great rishis and the message of the great masters. Once when they realize that, they're constantly thinking and feeling about that only. And they love to spread that message to others. So thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me means, so for such a being, they don't get distracted with all the other small things of life. They only see divine in others and they are only serving divine in all occasions. That is what it means. Is it clear?
Yes, Vijayji.
Yeah.
Vijayji, what is meaning of bliss?
Bliss. So bliss means it is see, for example, there are different levels of happiness one can get. Say you are very hungry, very hungry, and Amma gives you your favorite food. You feel very happy. Now let's say you've eaten, let's assume, what is your favorite food that Amma makes?
Vijayji, I like everything that my mother makes. My best is puri also.
Oh,
Puri and
wonderful.
sagu.
Today is a puri day. Okay, all right. So puri, you also like puri. Let's say Amma gives you puri. The first two puris, very nice. Third puri, nice. Fourth puri, somewhat nice. Fifth puri, less like nice. Sixth puri, ayo, I don't want to eat. Right? So you see, here it is decreasing because now you are hungry, you felt very happy initially. But as your hunger went, the body's hunger went away, the happiness that to derive out of that started reducing. So you can say that the sixth puri gave you less happiness than the first puri. Correct? So there is a level, there is a degree of happiness. So bliss is highest level, where that is your inherent nature. So without necessarily getting anything from outside, from within, you are truly happy, completely satisfied. There is no need to get anything from outside. So that state, that way of being, which is inherent within you, that level of happiness is called bliss. Are you able to understand?
Yes, Vijayji, I am clearly understanding.
Excellent.
Vijayji, I have one more doubt.
Yes.
Vijayji, what is meaning of this? Their lives are fully devoted to my service and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another by conversing about me.
What it means is, how such a realized being lives life. That is why I have given the example of Sri Prabhuji here. He has now dedicated his life to spread the message of great rishis. So his activities, his day-to-day activities are all centered around how do I create more and more Vedanta study circles? How do I create more and more I-lead groups? How do I take the message of Bhagavad Gita to others? How do I help children develop leadership qualities? Like that, his life is now completely dedicated to serve all the beings. So you see, none of us are giving any money. No one is offering any money to Prabhuji. But he is selflessly offering so much of wonderful jnana to all of us. So that is the essence of this whole sentence. How they live their life? They live their life in serving others. So that is also the message of the Light of the Self Foundation. Atmano mokshartam jagaditayacha. Means all this is to realize who I am. All this discussion, all this knowledge is to first and foremost to realize who I am truly. Then how to live life? Live life in service of others. Serve others. So that is the motto of Light of the Self Foundation. And Prabhuji is a living example of that. So this shloka is giving us indication of how such a being lives in life, so that we can imbibe their qualities within us and make our lives also like them. Is that clear?
Yes, Vijayji.
Anything else? Sure, Chirantan. Namit?
Sir?
Yes, go ahead, Namit. What are your questions?
Sir, I couldn't hear when you told Jigisha and Pancham. What does derive mean?
Okay. Derive means to obtain something. So, for example, from what fruit do you derive, let's say, mango juice?
Yes, sir.
So, from which fruit do you derive mango juice?
Mango.
Mango. Wonderful. And then from which animal do you derive milk?
Cow.
Cow. That we usually drink. You can derive it from other animals, but mostly we drink cow milk, right? So derive means to obtain something from something.
Yeah.
Are you clear?
Yes, sir, I understand.
All right. Yes, Prerana, what is your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. My first question is, Prabhuji, what is the benefit of this? If we do this seva or we do the spiritual activities, what is the benefit? If we need happiness, why should we go to the spiritual world and only attend? On our birthday days, we will get more gifts and some eatables also. We can enjoy in this material world only, no, Prabhuji? Then why should we do service and attain that spiritual world itself?
Okay, excellent question. Very nice. Okay. See, your birthday gift, definitely. Okay, somebody comes and gives you a toy car and you love the toy car. So nice. And you're so attached to the toy car. And you are saying, it's my toy car, so nice. Look how it goes. All that is there. Then let's say one day somebody comes. Okay, let's say accidentally they don't see and they step on your toy car. Now your toy car is all broken. Piece. Now how do you feel? Crying. My toy car is broken. So what happened here? Your happiness now, something called a toy car can control you. You thought that I am controlling the toy car, but actually your happiness is controlled by the toy car, isn't it? So now tell me one thing. Do you like your happiness to be controlled by something, say toy car, or by what others say or do? Or do you want to be a master of your own inner satisfaction and happiness? Which is better for you?
I want to be a satisfaction for my inner happiness.
By yourself, you want to be satisfied and happy, isn't it? Not by whether you get something or you lose something. So the essence of seva is that. Essence of seva is to help the mind to calm down. Because the mind is focused on, I want that, I want this. Without that, I will be unhappy. With this only, I will be happy. Oh, they scolded me. So like that, mind constantly gets agitated. So the essence of seva is to calm the mind. And then after calming the mind, in a spiritual gathering, when we listen to the great truths given by the great rishis, we realize, you can realize that your inherent nature, your nature is that of the bliss. Sat, Chit and Ananda, you are of the nature of bliss. You don't need a toy car to make you happy. You don't need somebody to praise you to make you happy. Within you, you are complete. You are full. So when you come, how to realize that? Only when the mind is calm and when you can listen to the message of the great masters, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is why spiritual service is necessary. And that is why listening to spiritual truths is necessary.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Any other question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, God gets to know that we have reached Him. We have left the spiritual world by doing service. When we are alive, we have reached Him and we have attained Him. But how will we get to know? We are in this material world and we are doing material karmas. Then how will we get to know that we have reached Him?
Excellent. First of all, you and God are not separate. Okay. Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Now, what do you see? What do you see in my video? What am I showing? What am I showing?
It's a book. It's a
I
book.
can see a mouse.
Is a book, right?
Notebook.
Is a book, correct?
Yeah.
Now, in the book's
Yeah.
place, what is there? What is there in the book's place?
Nothing, Prabhuji.
Now?
Now the book has come back.
Now?
No.
So there was space before the book came, and when the book came, space disappeared. But then when I took the book away, space has always been there. Did anything happen to the space?
Yeah.
Did anything happen to the space?
No, Prabhu.
It is always there,
No.
right? It is always there. So, like that is God. So, God has never been separate from you. Always been there, all the time. So, your closest friend is God only. Not away from you, not anywhere else. So, whatever you're doing every moment, therefore, you're doing nothing. Okay, I'll tell you one little story. Okay, this probably will help you understand. So once, one guru had many shishyas, and guru gave a banana to all the shishyas and told them, go and eat this banana in a place where God is not there, where nobody can see you. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And tomorrow morning, all the shishyas come back. And the guru asks one by one, okay, where did you eat? The first one says, you know what I did? I went into bathroom, I closed the windows, I closed the doors, full darkness. Nobody was seeing me. I ate. Guru said, oh, is that so? Okay, sit down. The next one said, oh, Guru, you know what I did? I went inside the blanket. I pulled the blanket all over me and nobody was seeing. And I slowly ate the banana. Nobody saw me. Oh, really? Very good. Go aside. Like that, everyone told where all they had eaten. So Guru did not say anything. Okay, okay, sit down, sit down. Now at last, Kanakadasa was also Shishya of this great Guru. He came. He still had the banana with him. Guru asked him, why? What happened? Could you not find a good place? He said, I listened to your suggestion. I went to many places. Yeah, I could see that others were not around me. But wherever I went, I was there. You asked me to eat in a place where nobody can see me. But I have been always watching. I have been seeing. And I don't know how I can get away from me because I am always there. Guru said, Kanaka, now you have seen the essence. So you see, you are always there. And you are the divine consciousness. You are part of God only. So you are not away from God at any point of time. That is why, you have all the qualities of God only. You have the qualities of kindness, qualities of compassion. All the nicest qualities are God's qualities, divine qualities. That's why they are inherent in you. That's why you feel pain when something is happening wrong with somebody. If somebody is hungry, you feel pained. Why? Because that is the God's quality. So you are never away from the divine qualities, Prerana. Does that clarify your question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anything else?
No, Prabhuji.
All right. Let's go to Manya.
Hari Om Vijayji.
Hari Om Manya.
I hope you can hear me clearly because there's some
I
network
can clearly hear as well as see you. Please go ahead.
So I wanted to share, I just wanted to share something about Prerna's question.
Please do share.
So first of all, she asked, why should we do all of this? Because mostly the materialistic things gives us more happiness. So in Bhagavad Gita, it's written that Lord Krishna says that the happiness we receive from these materialistic things is also, it makes us happy, or it does give us some joy. But when we do God's things and try to get closer to God, then we experience bliss, which is much greater than that. And he says, once any person gets the taste of this bliss after giving his service to God, then the happiness he receives from the materialistic things become very tasteless, and he doesn't feel like doing it anymore, because that kind of bliss is very supreme and he just wants to run behind it, and he doesn't feel this as he doesn't feel that this is of any importance to him at all. And also, could I narrate a small story?
Good, Manya.
So once there is a saint who wants to meditate in the Himalayas. So he goes to Himalaya, and then he sits. When he reaches there, he finds a very peaceful spot, and there he sees two trees. One is the banyan tree, and then he sees another slightly smaller tree. So he gets confused, which tree should I sit under? Because the small tree is very beautiful and it has many colorful flowers, but the banyan tree is also very big, and he had heard many stories of saints getting enlightened under various banyan trees. So he was confused. Now, where am I supposed to sit? But then he thought, okay, let me just try the colorful tree, like with the colorful flowers. Let me go sit under the tree. Then he goes and sits under there. And sometime later, another saint comes and he sits under the banyan tree. He's not completely dressed, and because it's very cold, so he's worn so many clothes, but he is like hardly the cold is anyway affecting him, and the saint sits under the banyan tree. Then it just takes 5 minutes, and then many people gather around that saint. So this particular like the saint, he gets very agitated. He feels, oh my god, why are so many people going there? I am also meditating. Am I not visible to anybody? And then he thinks, okay, maybe it is because of the tree. See, banyan tree is more powerful. Tomorrow I'll come before this saint, and I'll go sit under the banyan tree. So he does the same thing next day. But once again, he sees that all the people are gathering to that saint. Now he thinks, oh, maybe it's because of his clothes that people are getting attracted. Even I will act as if I'm not bothered about the cold. And then he also doesn't dress up so much, so like he's also not so packed up, and then he comes normally and sits under the tree. But even this time, he sees that the people are only gathering. So this time he's really irritated, and then he just runs away from the place. And now what he does is he just goes into his cottage, and then he tries to make himself comfortable first. And then now he's not bothered about what people think, because now he feels that whatever I do, the people are not, they're not getting attracted to me, and they're not becoming my disciples. So just let me get that idea off my mind. And then he tries to sit peacefully. And this time he doesn't feel anything. He doesn't feel like opening his eyes, and he feels complete within himself. And he sits there for hours, and then those hours stretch to be days and weeks and months. And then one day he opened his eyes, and there he saw that inside the cottage there was hardly any space to stand, because there were so many people. And then when he saw outside, there were so many people. But this now, none of them even mattered. It didn't even matter if there were people watching him. It did not even matter if there was one disciple or 100. This time, nothing mattered except that he was content with himself, and that he realized God. So the same way, that is the bliss one kind of experiences when you do things which are related to God, and you try to get closer to him. Then that's the bliss we experience when the other happiness becomes tasteless. Also, when you experience it, you get to know it, and then you somehow come to know that you have connected with God.
Very nice.
Thank you, Manya.
Is there anything else you would like to share, Manya?
No, Vijayji. That's it.
Very nice.
Thank you, Vijayji.
Yes. Yes, Nanne?
Answer for Prerana's question of that materialistic world.
Go ahead.
So with happiness with materialistic things, those are temporary, and we can't depend on those things. For example, if I like a chocolate and it makes me happy, and even it can after a few days that may I may get sick because of that chocolate. That's why the happiness attained by these materialistic things are temporary. So we can't depend on them.
Excellent. Very nice. Very nice. Jigisha and Pancham? Yes, you have raised your hand. You want to share something?
Sir?
Is there something that you want to share?
No, sir, I have a doubt.
Yes, go ahead, Pancham.
Sir, I had a network issue that time.
Okay, no problem. Is there a question you have?
Yes, sir. Sir, I didn't understand what is satisfaction.
Okay. Satisfaction means feeling of completeness. Nothing more is needed. Okay. For example, let's say you're very hungry and you wanted to have some food, and Amma gave you your favorite puri. Let's say you always eat 4 puri, and after eating 4 puri, you feel, oh, I'm done now. I'm satisfied. This is enough for me. So that feeling that you have, oh, this is enough, that is called satisfaction. Is that clear? Pancham, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
all right. Is there anyone who would like to share your understanding from today's discussion?
Sir, can I share? I'm Jigisha.
Yes, Jigisha, go ahead.
Sir, we should analyze the divine Jyoti in us, Atma Jyoti in us, and we should help others. And we get satisfied. We get peacefulness from that, sir.
See, realize that your inherent nature is peace, love, kindness. That is your inherent nature. It is not that you will get something, but all this serving others is to help your mind be at peace. Because otherwise, mind is always craving for, I want that, I want this. So to move the mind away from that and to help the mind to be in a peaceful state. But your nature is inherently peace. You will not get peace from outside. That is your true nature. When the mind is not disturbed, you always feel that. So service is to help your mind to be at peace. So what is service? Whatever you are doing with a feeling of offering to the divine. If you're giving milk to your brother, oh, it is not my brother, it is the divine in my brother that I'm serving. If you're studying, it is the divine teacher who is teaching me. It is the divine through the teacher that is teaching me. So I'm learning. Like that, every activity as an offering, as a involvement with the divine. That is the service at this time for you. Is that clear, Jigisha?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then as you learn, you need to see in and around you, whatever is possible for you, depending upon your nature, you need to see how to help others around you. For example, right now, you can help Amma, you can help brother, you can help your friends who probably, let's say you're good in math. You can help your friends to learn math from you. Like that, you can help in your own ways with whatever capabilities you have. So make that the attitude of life. That's what service means. Service doesn't mean that you have to go somewhere and do something. In whatever you're doing, see how to offer it and do the best that you can. Be the best student, that is service. Be the best daughter, that is service. Be the best sister, that is service. Look for what is the best I can do for my brother, for my friend. That is service. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Okay. Then let me stop the recording of this shlokas contemplation.